Sunny 93.3. Thank you so much for listening on a Monday. It's time now for our spotlight on Sioux Falls real estate with Jeff Harding from Prairie Real Estate Group. How you doing, sir?
I'm great. How are you, John?
Fabulous. Now, it's been a little over a week since the home show. I was out there and you were out there. We weren't there at the same time, but we were both there. And because of our friends here at Prairie Real Estate Group, we gave away some tickets to the home show as well. Now, when you're getting ready to sell your home, it probably makes good sense to do a little facelift on a couple of things here and there. Did you see any things while you were at the home show that were kind of fun ideas that people might want to implement if they're going to be selling their home?
I did. I mean, there's a lot of things to look at out there. It was huge if you look at the size of the show. But, last week we talked a little bit about curb appeal. And this week, I thought it'd be kind of neat to talk about what are some of these small weekend projects we could do to give our home a facelift. What would you want to do to build value in that? And we talked about the curb appeal aspect, the wow factor. There's so many things you can do to a home to build value, but I'll tell you, some of them are pretty easy. If you want your home to stand out from the other homes on the street, if you're looking at selling it, one of the vendors that was out there was Fargo Paint and Glass. You think paint and glass, and here all of a sudden they had a whole display of front doors out there.
We saw those. Heidi kind of fell in love with one of them.
Well, I fell in love with several of them. I was really blown away. But these are not your grandpa's front door anymore. They have really come a long ways in that industry with some of the designs and the neat looks. And the truth is, you could knock that front door out of your house, take the door and the frame, and replace that in a weekend. It's a weekend project. You're talking about probably dropping $1,500 total to put a new front door and give it a whole fresh look on the front. And it is a wow factor. Some of those doors out there, if you had that on the front of your house, you'd have prospective buyers walking up with their mouth hanging open.
And that is kind of the first impression. You talk about curb appeal. First thing you do is, you're in the car, parked by the curb, you look up and see what you see. But where are you going to go? Where your eye is going to focus to that front door because that's where you're walking to.
Yep. When you're talking about the outside of the home, having the front porch painted and stained, we mentioned that last week. Maybe some flowers or shrubs, or if you've got bushes and shrubs, making sure they're trimmed and they look nice and neat. Mulch. If you've got pea rock or river rock or mulch, putting a couple bags of fresh stuff over the top and giving it a really newer look to it, that goes a long ways. And you're not talking about spending a lot of money to do that. It's just taking a weekend and getting it ready.
So all of these things, some of this stuff probably means waiting until it gets a little bit nicer out, but there are certainly some things you can do even if the weather's not great.
Sure. I mean, right now, one of the things that people wonder is, where do you draw the line? I mean, I know there's things in my home that I should update or give a fresh look to, but what are we trying to achieve here? And if we put it on paper, where am I stopping at? You could keep spending money all day long. And at some point, you've got to say, that's not going to justify what we're going to reap back when we sell the home. So, for instance, I'll give you a good example. Is people have it in their head, hey, we've got to put granite countertops if we're going to update our kitchen. Granite countertops definitely add value to a home, but they have come a long ways in the resurfacing of countertops. And really what we're trying to achieve here is we just don't want the existing countertops, if they look dated, to keep people from wanting to find the wow value in your home. You might have a decent-sized kitchen. There might be plenty of cabinets and counter space, but if the counters are all dinged up and there's knife marks and they look 30 years old, there's not going to be a wow factor there.
So you don't necessarily need to swap them out if they're okay, but if they're not okay, it would make sense to do something, whether it's swapping them or resurfacing.
Well, put it this way. If you had it in your head that you needed to put granite countertops in, and I'm not here to talk you out of doing that, but if you resurfaced your countertops at 1/4 or 1/3 of the cost, you could take the money you've saved and put that new front door on the house we were just talking about, or spend it on repainting. People want to see a blank canvas, and that's really what I'm hoping to find when I bring a buyer to a home that's for sale. When I represent a buyer, we want to find a home that they can personalize and make their own. And by putting fresh paint on walls in neutral colors, the grays, the beiges, by not replacing your cabinets, just leave them there if they're in decent shape yet. You don't need new cabinets to sell that home. A lot of people look at those cabinets and they're going to think, I'd love to paint those cabinets gray. Well, what happens if you just painted them white? You know, let's leave that a blank canvas, because as I'm representing your home by showing it to my buyer, I'm encouraging them, hey, look, those cabinets are a little dated, but you've got a choice. Either we put new cabinets in to the tune of $5,000 or $6,000, or you could paint those cabinets if you like that look too and save the money. If you decide that you want new cabinets, had the seller put new cabinets in that house, there's no guarantee you'd like the new ones they put in. So would you rather the house be $5,000 more on the price tag and it has the cabinets they liked? Or would you rather buy it at this price and put in the cabinets you like? So that's the example of it being a blank canvas to a buyer.
If somebody's planning on selling their home, how do they go about getting a hold of you at Prairie Real Estate Group so they can have you help them out?
They can call me at 605-521-3000, or they can go to prairierealestategroup.com.
Again, Jeff Harding from Prairie Real Estate Group. I have a link to all of his information on our page as well. You'll find that at sunnyradio.com.